Good afternoon, my name is Ilona Raugze, I'm the Director of ESPON-EGTC, and I thank you for this opportunity to share with you some insights on the importance of integrated territorial approach. The latest ESPON research conducted in 2016 and 17 confirms the importance of an integrated place-based approach that should be based on 4 key principles. Firstly, territorial integration that requires adopting a view on territorial development perspectives of places beyond their administrative borders. And it involves understanding connections and interdependencies with other places, also their comparative advantages, as well as opportunities to maximize their development potentials and achieving critical mass through joint initiatives. Secondly, integrated place-based approach is about thematic integration that calls for a holistic, cross-sectoral view on the development of places, and it entails that all the different fields of policy intervention should be considered in close relation with each other to make sure that they are mutually reinforcing rather than mutually destructive. Investments in human capital, infrastructure, business development, innovation, services should all be aligned, according to this principle, to achieve common development objectives and promote the well-being of populations. Thirdly, it is about public-private partnerships and wide stakeholder engagement that is crucial to achieve the ownership and also practical implementation of the agreed development objectives. Finally, integrated place-based approach is about financial integration that requires pooling resources from different funding streams and ensuring their coordinated use for achieving locally and regionally defined objectives. At the same time, it's important to note that the definition of policy interventions should not be driven by the availability of funds, because in this case, they risk becoming weakly related to the assets and real needs of places, and therefore can end up, in the worst case scenario, to be a wasteful investment. An integrated planning approach, if it is followed properly, brings a range of different benefits. It allows to achieve synergy and complementarity between sectoral policy issues. It allows to prevent duplication of planning efforts and investments. It allows optimizing current organizational structures and also achieving greater understanding and trust among actors and stakeholders involved in local development. Despite the impressive progress in the implementation of integrated territorial approaches adopted by member states, regions and cities in Europe, there remain some outstanding challenges. To name only some of them, one is fragmentation of administrative structures and lack of coordination and cooperation between and within functional areas. Another one is related to missing cross-border linkages in infrastructure and business connections, as well as unharmonized regulations and also lack of cooperation between public bodies. Another one can be mentioned, it is related to difficulties of cross-sectoral coordination, another one to the lack of political will and long-term commitment, and finally it's important to mention that certain challenges also are related to weak capacities of involved stakeholders on consensus building. Respecting the aforementioned principles and overcoming challenges requires the will and capacity to cooperate and coordinate activities at different geographical scales. And here ESPON would like to underline that integrated urban and territorial development based on cooperation should become the key element of planning, governance and also investment policies and practices in the future at European, national, regional and global scales. And in this respect, different players have different roles and opportunities to promote the integrated approaches in practice. National governments can develop supporting policy frameworks for promoting collaborative practices, and in some cases can also usefully serve as neutral mediators of regional and local collaborative practices, helping to overcome conflicting interests. European and global organizations, as well as national governments, can offer financial tools for supporting the implementation of integrated place-based strategies and invest in capacity building of involved stakeholders. At regional and local scale, applying a coherent proactive planning approach necessitates establishing a shared governance process, enabling more dynamic interactions between the spatial scales, policy issues, land use functions, and also a wide range of actors. ESPON has been analyzing different governance and planning approaches and tools and developing a policy advice for promoting a more integrated approach. For example, a metropolitan planning approach, soft governance models at regional scale, and others. And the key success factors of any governance and planning model, according to ESPON, include combining top-down policy incentives with bottom-up collaboration and implementation, collaboration between the relevant planning authorities at national, regional, and local levels, involvement of a wider range of stakeholders, also ensuring the transparency and openness of collaboration process and building awareness. It's also important to ensure that collaborative practices are about working towards a minimum gain for all, and the advice is to also start with smaller bottom-up initiatives that can be convincing for most actors and that can be continued at a broader scale in the next years. Furthermore, a very important factor of success is political commitment and support from higher levels of government, and mobilizing political leadership and engaging with different actors in a collaboration is considered as a very crucial factor of success. I encourage you to visit ESPON website to learn more about the results of the latest ESPON research on the subject, and I wish you a very successful event. Thank you.